So then, the Xfinity 500, I'm going to try and talk about it in one take because there's quite a bit that I want to discuss, but it's all just going to keep coming in droves. But we'll start off with the winner, the guy who won his way in from below the cut line, well below the cut line. He was basically in must-win territory, but he had as close to a Grand Slam as you can get at the paperclip. He led 304 of the 500 laps. He got the Xfinity fastest lap. He swept the stages. William Byron, the regular season champion, has managed to find that win exactly when he needed it most. Thanks to the crash while leading, because of Ty Dillon checking up on the banking out of 4 at Vegas, and then being turned by, wasn't it Carson Hocevar, on the run to the line last week at Talladega. Hocevar, for what it's worth, got bullied so hard at Martinsville over the course this weekend. I'm finding it hard to remember a caution that he wasn't at some point part of for the phase of the race that I followed the most, which was stage 3. But overall, Byron won his way in, having gotten past somebody who led the next most amount of laps of the day. Between the two of them, they led 481 of the 500 laps. Ryan Blaney. I did say Blaney was going to be good here, and he was. He led most of stage 3 until Byron, with, wasn't it like even 24 to go? I feel like it was something like his number left. Just moved him. And it's what you have to do in Martinsville. He had enough speed to get away, so Blaney couldn't pay him back. By the time that Blaney wanted to pay him back, Byron was so far up the track. Then a couple of well-timed cautions, a couple of good restarts of those cautions meant that he could get away and win his way in. For Blaney, it was a must-win, and for Chase Elliott, who was right behind them, it was also a must-win. He didn't lead any laps in the day, but he managed to pick up some good points anyways. Whilst Ross Chastain led 8 laps in the day. So that means that we've only got like 11 laps that we haven't accounted for. And between them, 6 of them went to Tyler Reddick, who, I don't know, he must try to go for broke, right, in Phoenix and try and get the win, as long as it doesn't impact on any other Toyota driver, because it'll be weird for him to have a winless season. And the other 5, well, it was Michael McDowell. But just talking about the lap leaders means that we gloss over a bunch of the other stories. For instance, Hamlin and Briscoe both blowing their motors. Part of me feels, if you're an F1 fan, you might follow this analogy. Like it's a Lewis Hamilton Brazil 2021 situation. You blow your motor, you get a fresh motor for the championship finale, and then it already needs to do 500 miles and some change. That's what I would do if I was TRD, or they're Toyota Consumer Racing North America now, aren't they? I'd go, alright, put a fresh motor in, just for Phoenix. Let's see what we can do. Because Briscoe's blue on lap 295, Hamlin's on 334. In fact, 4 of the 5 retirements we have from this race were Toyotas. The other one was the 66 of Casey Mears, with Herbston Jones also out of the race. But, yeah. I think for Toyota, they would have hoped that Christopher Bell had got in. He ended up being knocked out on points right at the cut line by Kyle Larson. And, I mean, it did come down a little bit to stage points as well. Stage 1, Larson was 3rd, Bell was 8th. That's a swing of 5 points. And then in stage 2, it was a swing of an extra point. And then at the end of the race, there were 2 spots between them, but 8 points. So those 6 points, yeah, if they hadn't have gone the way that they did, that could have been it. I think it was 8 points that decided it in the end, so it was pretty much all on the day that it got lost for Christopher Bell. But the manufacturer that lost out the most, the team that lost out the most, is Penske. Penske have won every next-gen championship, and neither Blaney nor Logano made it. Which is annoying for me. In my pre-playoff predictions, my Championship 4, I had Byron, Bell, Blaney, and Hamlin as my 4 picks. I did pick a Hendrick, but I also picked a Penske. And, yeah, I put 2 Gibbs in. I got the 2 Gibbs cars. I got Byron. But I did get Larson. Though, again, he's somebody who... I mean, he was doing well at Dega last week. He probably could have won it and broken that duck of... I think it's almost a record now, the most super speedway races without a super speedway win. Or at least out of the active champions or out of the champions in the sport. But it is what it is, right? It's weird. There are only a handful of drivers on here, especially when you look at the top finishers, who got above a 20 as their fastest lap. And the fastest three are lasted in 5th with a 20 flat, 20.05 for Gilliland and a 20.11 for Berry. But I want to talk about a couple of other things that stood out. Like, Kyle Busch did still end up having a bit of a better run. Josh Berry, I mentioned, got into the top 10. Todd Gilliland with the front row in 9th. And SVG in 14th. That's right, SVG has been having top 10, top 15 pace since he got knocked out of the playoffs in the round of 16. That is a good thing to look for when we're looking towards next season, because some of these tracks now are ones that he's done 2, maybe 3 races in the Cup Series at. And the next gen is very different to the Xfinities. So it's good to look out for SVG next year, because he will win a road course next year, and he might actually get through the round of 16 if he keeps this up. He could potentially, this is barring any format changes, right? Have a deeper playoff run if the playoff format stays the same. And also then begs the question of what's going to happen with Connor Zilisch when he comes up. Will Zilisch have the same kind of thing as SVG, where he's good in some places and not so good in others? Or will he be a bit like how we've been talking about Oscar Piastri in the last couple of years in F1, where he's just been going from strength to strength and constantly improving? I mean, I know Piastri's form is dipping at the moment, but it's for the tracks that he's least familiar with. And, I mean, elsewhere, the other races for their cut-off for the round of 8 were impressive as well. We had a tiebreaker, didn't we, in the Xfinity series to set the grid. A grid that is all Chevy. Again. It's bewildering. And then trucks, that was so messy, and I feel like that also ended up with a tiebreaker, didn't it? But yeah, they were the messier ones. The Cup one in comparison was somewhat clean, especially by Martinsville standards. But either way, those are the things that stood out for me. In a couple of days, I'll be doing my Championship 4 preview, and I will try to loosely cover the top 3 series. But until then, folks, thanks for watching and joining. Bye for now.